Hello. How do we influence other people? Is the influence just what we say, what we speak? Or is it who we're being? Without even a word being said, how do we influence people? I've been away for a month and I had a situation come my way and it really taught me a lot. As usual, a student every day, and the more I pay attention, the more I learn. I never realized the power that we hold to influence the people around us. I know that other people can certainly influence, right? And a lot of times, my clients, my peeps, the empaths, the feelers of the world notice how they're negatively impacted by another person. But I had the opposite thing happen. I noticed how I am impacting an environment and how by the mere switching of me to something not so magnetically positive, without saying a single word, I could influence the people around me. Everything shifted in that moment. So it goes something like this, and this is why I think a lot of people talk about self-care, because you care about how you influence an environment and how you are influenced by an environment. So it is really an impacting, a sending out signal, and then we can be impacted by a receiving in signal. So none of this is really conscious. Like the more you know, the more you walk down this path. This is my sage, by the way. As you see this little fire here going on, the smoke. You never realize just how important a component you are in your family, in your inner circle, and why people gravitate to you. Why do people gravitate to you? Because you're a positive, uplifting, listening, receptive person, non-judgmental person. That's like an amazing person, right? And if you are this person and you know how to hold beautiful energy and share it with the world, people want a piece of that. People need that because a lot of people are starved for that neutrality and even uplift, I would say. So have you ever heard the saying, heal yourself, fix yourself, get yourself together, and you impact everybody in your household? Like you being you at a really positive, beautiful point of interaction, you impact everything around you. I saw that, and I know that to be true in my household because if I'm in a bad mood, the whole house goes because I let that be known. You're not shy in your own household. You can't hide in your own household. People are going to see. Your closest people are going to know you like the back of their hand. So a lot of times when we go down this spiritual path and we're here to heal and we're self-aware and we notice, we understand the power of energy, we want to feel good for ourselves. That's why we do it. But we also know there is an outward ripple effect on the people around us that benefits even more without draining us. So we learn to manage this interchange with the environment. Well, what I noticed is that when I'm in a situation, whether it's a social situation or whether I am in with my family, I bring the best version of me to the table. Just because that's the strongest version of me is the best version of me, and I come ready for that, all right? And it's almost like it's an agreement in some ways. I look at this room and I look at the people and I look at where people are, and I bring the either individually, one by one, or in general, me being present raises the vibration of the room. Because I am beaming with that much amazing energy, how could it not impact the room, right? So And I actually want to say that when you wear this energy and you hold this energy and you can own this energy, that's you in a positive way, you're dynamic, you're expressive, you're caring, you can, someone can come in a bad mood and within seconds, I have them laughing. Or I've touched them in some way that mood leaves them. All right. They've tuned in to the frequency that's around them is actually what happens. All right. So, but that frequency that's around them has to be pretty strong. There's the whole self-care. It has to be strong, because if it's not strong, they're going to overpower you with their frequency of what they are. And you really don't want to tit for tat. You really ideally want to just stay where you are. And the people that tune into you and can receive, and other people don't. Like, you don't want to force anything onto people. All right. This is nothing done consciously. This is just who we are being. But I noticed that, of course, we're going away for a day to enjoy ourselves. Everybody is in good spirits, right? But I noticed in the car on the way there, the lines, the this, the that, who's picking up on, this is, whining, annoyed, all these different things are happening in the car. And you kind of ride a little bit of that wave, but not really. My job is to, believe it or not, I am calming the car. I am, if they go this way, I go this way. And I don't go too much or too, I'm just kind of neutralizing what's happening. And this is the energy component that oftentimes is hard to notice or to miss. Like, if you're surrounded by lots of negative people, you have a lot of work to do in order to get that environment into something that you're comfortable even being in. Now, I think there's a difference between me hanging out with my family doing this and me hanging out with a group of people that are not my family. So there's more of me available and on the scene when it comes to family doings, right? Especially right immediate family doings, because of the person that I am. So I noticed how I held the bar of where we were at. I didn't allow it to dip. And this is why we get tired sometimes, because we're actually doing some work. Go through the day, flow with the day, enjoy the things that I love to connect with, and, stand back from things I don't want to connect with. So, roller coasters, food and whatnot, a busy day of seeing, busy day of people all around, right? But Michelle's doing fine. Everything is working along, everything, all of a sudden, it's the end of the day. Probably we've been there 5 hours or something like that. I notice, dang, I'm really dehydrated. Dang, he's being annoying. What did he just do? Like, something comes over me where I am annoyed. Something comes over me where I am annoyed. I've neglected my physical body. All of a sudden I realize this, and I have, a husband who's walking ahead of me and he's not listening to what's happening. Like, the day was done. I was done. The day was done. And it was like a switch. It was like a switch that said, nope, I'm not having fun anymore. I'm not having fun, especially when you're not listening to me. And we have got to go this way, not this way. So it turned a corner, and I could have walked through some nasty stuff. People could have been annoyed right at that very moment. I've got a roller coaster going over my head and people screaming. Now, that had been happening, and I was saying all along, that is the most annoying thing. Like, who would want to hear kids screaming right over your head? So right in the middle of me dipping down in vibration, getting annoyed, getting angry, all of a sudden, this roller coaster comes over. Now, that's the last thing I needed too. Now, I am done with this day. So my mood changes almost immediately. My husband says, what's wrong? Now, he doesn't know he's part of why I'm annoyed, right? And I just look and I say, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. I've been like in an amazing, great mood. I've been me all day. This version of me that is now annoyed is not like my favorite version of me. But nonetheless, I'm living that feeling at that moment. So what does he do? You're going to laugh. He starts walking even further ahead of me because he doesn't want confrontation. He doesn't want to be next to somebody who was angry at him. And, my son is walking with his girlfriend. He no clue, no idea. They have no idea. Of course, my job is not to upset everybody. I just did a switcheroo in me. I'm annoyed. But it's not like me to spew and complain and blah, blah. I try to keep that under wraps. We had people with us. It's not productive. So mom was the word, not a word. Not a word. The whole way in the car back home, not a word. Everybody in the car, not a word. And as I'm driving, I'm like, I haven't said anything bad. I haven't really looked annoyed. I'm just not saying anything. I'm just not participating. I'm not holding. I'm not doing anything. And I can feel my own vibration strongest. But then when I looked around, I'm like, oh, this is what the car is like without my high vibration holding it where it needs to be, or where I want it to be, or ideally it needs to be. I didn't dip it down into my total annoyance. Gosh, if they only had a recorder in my head, they would have heard all the different things that were. And the most annoying thing to me was that I got to the point after I got upset, I held my sacral. I like the lower part of me. I had physical pain walking out of that amusement park. So the thought, the emotion, the physical pain, that was a sequence of what hit me. Although the first thought I had was, I am really thirsty. My body, I started to notice something was off. Then I got annoyed because I hadn't taken care of myself. And how could I let that happen? And then he did something that upset me too. So it was all like boom, 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 right? So I guess the moral of the story is that we play a role in holding high vibrations. People around us, our closest people to us, will benefit from that, right? We can't forget that same strength of holding it. People are going to miss that when you go the other way, and they're missing that component. Their life is not the same either. The quality of their life is not the same. So you want to always amp up, meaning focus on being always the best version of yourself, the strongest version of yourself. Clear out the stuff that needs your attention in order to clear out. So it doesn't do a repeat of that every time we go somewhere, right? And I questioned one thing. I questioned, why do I feel that I need to hold that vibration in place? Is it for them? Is it for me? What's it for? I'm doing it for the whole environment, for our little setting, because it's me sharing the best parts of me with them. So I don't really see anything wrong with it. What I see that needs repairing is me really reeling it in so that I don't get to a point where it's too much now. Now I went the other way, because then it's not really productive. And everybody was equally as impacted by the change in my vibration. Interestingly enough, I'll give you another little example. So we went to Clearwater at one point and one of my children was with me, and not the best mood. I couldn't quite figure out what was wrong with him. My mood was right on. I was in the right place. My husband was, but I could tell nope, something was off. Didn't pry, didn't go into it, let the time pass, and eventually it went away. But it was, I gave him space to be and to feel what he was at that moment in time. And no, I didn't try to change it up or anything. It just took a little time for him to move out of that. So I guess if somebody is so down in their moods, if they can't tune into the vibration that you're emitting, they stay where they're at. So it kind of counters my first concept. So you will be able to uplift and influence people who welcome that vibration, who want to participate with that vibration, who they're not too far off from that, and you do it very, very gently. And it's never a direct hit. It's just a holding of a certain vibe. It's just a little comment to counteract something, not directly, but to bring attention to something that is more positive, right? But if someone is intent on being and living in a certain space, it's not your job to change that space. It's actually impossible for you to do without annoying, without pushing, without pulling, without causing like a scene, right? So you be the best version of you, and it's not like you ignore it, but you don't focus on it. You focus on other things to move through that period with them. And then eventually they will move on when they can to raise their vibration back up. It's like we go through cycles. If we are caught up in a thought, it brings on a feeling, which means we're sitting in it until some other feeling gets our attention, and we start focusing on that thought. Some other beautiful thing comes into the picture, and we willingly move in the other direction. We're given permission. We give ourselves permission. Nobody moves because we tell them to move. They move because something about the scene, there's a timing with it. It grabs their interest. It holds their interest. It changes their focus. Their thoughts change. Their emotions change. So I hope you learned something from this. Please write down below any question you have, any observation you have, any of the big aha that you learned from this. I love comments. Comments are good. Questions are good. We're all in this together, right? We're all emitting a vibration. We're all learning to deal with disruption in that vibration and why it's disrupted. Oh no, that's no fun, right? For a disruption to happen. So that it's no fun to see yourself like at a 10 and then see yourself drop down to a 5 or 4. What happened there, right? So this is all the stuff I teach. It's about managing emotions, being present with your body, understanding the impact you have on other people, and where your responsibility ends and theirs begins. Because we're all here to learn. And you don't fix anybody. You hold space, you facilitate change by the way that you are. And when others impact you, what's that about? They have been given permission. You've given that permission. You've allowed that influence to come into your world. Always for a reason. There's always something to learn. It's never an accident. So I'll let you all go. Happy learning. Happy days ahead for you guys. I know there's a lot of drama. There always is a lot of drama. And there always is. So be really particular about what you choose to tap into. Because the quality of your life matters more than anything, really. Because if you're not happy inside, hopeful, engaged, alert, and if that quality of feeling doesn't exist within you, life will feel like a drudgery. So your job is to find your way there and to learn to stay there. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.